Geoff, I just want to play for you one comment from Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State, on this travel ban.
The executive order signed by the president earlier today, protecting the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States, is a vital measure for strengthening our national security.
So, Geoff, what do you think of round two here on this executive order?
Well, first of all, I think it's very interesting that Tillerson has read the announcement and made the public statement. It looks like maybe the adults are starting to get more into control in the administration, and some serious people are getting engaged in policy. It's highly significant. It's most unusual for a Secretary of State to make a public announcement on an immigration policy, Homeland Security or border protection, someone else, but not the Secretary of State. So that's encouraging, and it fits a pattern. I mean, we saw some over-the-top comments made a couple of weeks ago that the One China policy was up for negotiation. That was very quickly stepped on by wiser heads inside the administration.
Right.
And we've heard no more of that. So I think we're starting to see a bit of a pattern emerging now.
It is interesting, Geoff, and I'm glad you pointed that out, that we did see Rex Tillerson, of all people, making this comment. Do you think that it signals that perhaps we're finally going to see more of a unified voice coming out from the White House on foreign policy?
Oh, hope so, very much. We need that urgently. I think what we're seeing perhaps is a shift inside the administration in terms of influence and who's calling the shots. And if it's sensible people, then I think that's good for policy.
You know, what's also fascinating is in 2017, you have China stepping in, making these comments about essentially defending free trade, defending liberal trade. It's fascinating, isn't it? Because there's been a lot of talk about whether there leaves a vacuum as the US perhaps retreats a bit more, becomes more isolationist, that there is a space for China to step up. Do you think Beijing is ready and has the intention to do so?
Yeah, a good question, and it's ironical. And when you see Xi Jinping's speech at the recent Davos forum in January, being the champion of global liberalisation, it all seems a bit unbelievable. China has, of course, over the last 30 years, been the single biggest beneficiary of the globalisation and open markets that we've seen. And that's brought China firmly into the international system. China has a lot to lose if we have a return to protectionism. Can they show leadership? I think they're starting to show leadership in a number of different areas. For example, the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, the BRICS Bank. They're quite active in bilateral FTA negotiations. So I think they realise that the time's come, given the weight and size of the Chinese economy, for them to be more active internationally and to show a degree of leadership. But that's a long way short of what we're talking about, sort of filling the vacuum that the US might leave if it were to become more introverted and inward-looking.